Deray McKesson. Everybody, if you're involved at all with anything about Black Lives Matter, even if you just observe, Deray McKesson is one of the most outspoken voices for Black Lives Matter. He has been given an opportunity to be a guest lecturer at Yale University for a weekend lecture concerning transformative leadership. And anyone who has studied anything about transformative leadership, it is exactly fit rather for a person like Deray, because it discusses not only a person who brings a new type of leadership that transforms the current paradigm that we're living under, but it's also someone who is transformative in themselves, in the sense that they don't come from traditional roots, or they don't come from a traditional pedigree. And that's exactly what Deray McKesson is. He's a guy who went on the scene of Ferguson and reported what he was seeing via his Twitter profile, and went from 1,000 followers to, I think he's up to like 170,000, some ridiculous number now. And he not only is a Twitter thought leader and all those types of things, but he's actually a very well-spoken and outspoken person on police brutality in the United States of America. But you would think that in spite of the fact that he is a new type of leader who comes from a different type of background and has the same level of influence on a national level as many PhDs, you would think that Deray was just some side of the road junkie that Yale University was bringing in to give a lecture because of how conservatives are responding to it. And I want you to understand something very, very clearly, and I can't reiterate this enough. It is about conservatism. And wherever you find it, whether you find it in a liberal city or you find it in the Democratic Party, it has always been about people who fear change. And you can see this hidden in this video, or at least they tried to hide it until you actually research the person that they brought on. They brought on this sophomore from Yale to speak about Deray McKesson coming. So I'm going to play this clip and we'll discuss
I guess what bothers me about this is not that he doesn't share my politics. Most people don't. He's liberal. Yale is liberal, of course. Not an impressive guy. Just kind of a race hustler. What are his qualifications to teach at Yale, which you think of as kind of a big deal place, right?
Yeah, essentially, as far as I can tell from his LinkedIn profile and research I've done on him, he taught middle school math for a couple years, and he's been a human resource manager. But we have Nobel laureates teaching at Yale, and he just really doesn't meet the criteria for a Yale professor.
Yeah, I would think. So you're paying an awful lot of money to go to Yale. I mean, it's over 50 grand a year. Is this kind of what you expected when you showed up to be taught by people like this?
Absolutely not. I pay over $60,000 a year. The Divinity School is over $25,000 a year, and now we're seeing our money go to bringing professional protesters to campus instead of real professors.
Arissa Damron. And I want you to go to look at her Twitter profile, and you'll see why. So she comes on Fox News as a student from Yale University, right? But what they don't emphasize, and first of all, Tucker Carlson sets it up saying that, it's not that I don't like him because of his politics. Well, no, that's the exact reason you don't like him. The exact reason Fox News hates and conservatives hate Deray McKesson is because they hate anyone who is going to be bold enough to speak out against the status quo. And I lump it all underneath the status quo because it is the perfect, it encapsulates what they want to maintain and what they fear change of. And so it's not that they're just going to oppose Black Lives Matter and Deray McKesson. They are going to oppose anyone and everyone who would dare challenge the system the way we find it today. And so they bring on Arissa Damron to speak as a sophomore from Yale University, and she begins to speak in such a condescending tone with such elitism that conservatives ostensibly hate, right? But she talks about, well, I pay $60,000 a year, and the Divinity School, well, they pay the penance of $25,000 a year, and we have Nobel laureates, and we don't need professional protesters. We don't need people like this at our school. I think Tucker Carlson actually said those words, people like this. And so it's playing into classism, and you could just leave it there if you didn't actually do some research on this girl, on this woman, a young woman, and find out that she's actually an activist for a conservative women's group at Yale University, and she's an activist in conservatism in general. And so it is exactly about the fact that Deray does not conform to your political ideology, Tucker Carlson. It is exactly the fact that I don't even buy into the classism so much, but it's just disgusting to see the fact that because he did not attend an Ivy League university, that all of a sudden a person who doesn't go to an Ivy League does not have something substantive to contribute to a conversation, when in fact Deray is probably one of the most prolific speakers on his issue. Right? Never mind all of the people out in America who may never have attended an Ivy League institution who have something substantive to say on the issue on which they are an expert. But the casual classist condescension and dismissal of anyone who did not come from Yale University, and anyone who because her professors have Nobel laureates. I get that. Congratulations, right? But that does not that does not negate the contribution of everyone else in America who would never attend an Ivy League school. But it's not so much, they're using that nuance. And that's the slick thing about it. They can contort this argument to be a classist argument so that they can still attack Deray and attack anyone who challenges anyone who challenges the status quo. Right? So they would rather use a classist argument because they understand this is something that their crowd would come along. Of course, Deray shouldn't be teaching at Yale. He's only taught middle school math. He's only been a human resource manager. Why are they bringing him in? And it just speaks volumes to the length that conservatives will go to sustain the status quo and to suppress anyone who is a threat to that. And so they'll play the classist card, but then in the same exact channel, network, and conversation, they will dismiss President Obama as being an intellectual elite because he was the president of the Harvard Law Review, or because he speaks in a professorial tone, right? So just the hypocrisy, which is nothing new. But the idea that they are opposing him because he's quote unquote unqualified is just disingenuous, because at its core, it is opposition. It is purely an opposition to his political positions. All right, caller, what is your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, how you doing there, Ben? This is Patrick. Hey, I just want to point out to you, this is a powerful point you made, but I just want to say something about school. Just because you pay $60,000 to go to a school, you don't have to take the class, do you?
No, not at all.
So what difference do it make? They can bring anybody they want to at the school. If you don't want to go, just don't go. That's the point that kills me about some of the stuff that they're doing. It isn't like Yale is forcing her to go to class.
Exactly.
No, this is an opportunity for somebody who might be interested in this issue and in his take on this issue to come and to learn and to get it firsthand, because that's what university is supposed to be about.
Exactly.
Catch it firsthand and apply some of it, what you can, to your life, and it may help you with your positioning as you go forward in your life. These folks crazy. Thank you for going overtime today, Ben.
No problem. I'm going overtime because I started a few minutes late, but that's absolutely true. So it's not even about the fact that she has to be subjected to this class, right, Patrick? That's exactly the case. She does not have to be subjected to this class, but you would be amazed at the number of people who are absolutely losing their mind, and they have the need to try to find a valid position to oppose him on, and so they have reduced themselves to taking the position of elitist and classist so that they can oppose him and have a valid reason to oppose him, because they don't want to dare say that they only oppose him because of his politics. Because if they say that, then they will directly concede to the fact that the point that I've been making this entire show. Conservatism is completely opposed to any radical, revolutionary, or simple movement that challenges the status quo. They want you to stay in your place. and they want to control your population. They want to control your choices. So for everyone, for John, let me go back to John, who wants to address this, the Democrats in history. Listen, it's never been about, I don't care about a D or an R. It's about the mindset and the political ideology, the political ideology of control, of keeping people in their place, controlling their populations so that they do not become a threat to the status quo power and economic and political structure of the United States of America. And so with this thing with Deray McKesson, it's not about the fact that he did not come from a Ivy League institution. It's about the fact that he is one of the most outspoken people challenging the status quo power system. And so long as you have people out there challenging the status quo of the power structure of America, you will always have conservatives who want to conserve that status quo, falling over themselves, contradicting themselves, undermining their own policies, undermining their own positions, undermining everything that they stand for, simply to oppose anyone who's a threat to their power structure.